You're going to watch 10 strangest lizards you got to see. Welcome to Power Smarty. If you're excited to know the strangest lizard, you should stay until the end. Number 1 will shock you. The world is filled with strange animals that are capable of doing strange things. Some animals can climb walls, some of them can turn their body into a living shield, and others can camouflage and make themselves invisible. That's so awesome. If you start to think about it, you can even say that some of these animals in the video have a superpower. 10. Armadillo girdled lizard. The armadillo girdled lizards inhabit the desert and semi-desert regions. They are mostly found along the western coast of South Africa. The lizards were initially used in the pet trade before they became endangered. They are either light brown or dark brown in color, with their underbelly being yellow and blackish in stripes. Armadillo girdled lizards are diurnal reptiles. They feed on small invertebrates, plants, and other species of small lizards and rodents. If it senses danger, the armadillo girdled lizard puts its tail in the mouth to form a spherical shape that enables it to roll. In this shape, its spikes on the back are exposed, which protects it from predators. The female armadillo girdled lizard gives birth to 1 or 2 live young. The species is one of the few lizards that does not lay eggs. The female may even feed her young, which is also unusual for a lizard. Females give birth once a year at most, some take a year off between births. The species Ouroboros cataphractus was classified by the Yukon as vulnerable until 1996 but has since been downgraded to least concern. If you thought number 10 was strange, you should see number 1. 9. Gila monster. The Gila monster is found in the southwestern United States and Mexico, a range including Sonora, Arizona, parts of California, Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico, potentially including Baja California. They inhabit scrubland, succulent desert, and oak woodland, seeking shelter in burrows, thickets, and under rocks in locations with ready access to moisture. In fact, Gila monsters seem to like water and can be observed immersing themselves in puddles of water after a summer rain. They avoid living in open areas such as flats and farmland. Gila monsters spend 90% of their time underground in burrows or rocky shelters. They are active in the morning during the dry season, spring and early summer. Later in the summer, they may be active on warm nights or after a thunderstorm. The Gila monster feeds primarily on bird and reptile eggs and eats infrequently, only 5 to 10 times a year in the wild, but when it does feed, it may eat up to 1/3 of its body mass. It uses its extremely acute sense of smell to locate prey, especially eggs. Its sense of smell is so keen, it can locate and dig up chicken eggs buried 15 centimeters, 6 in deep, and accurately follow a trail made by a rolling egg. The Gila monster produces venom in modified salivary glands in its lower jaw, unlike snakes, whose venom is produced in the upper jaw. The Gila monster lacks the musculature to forcibly inject the venom. Instead, the venom is propelled from the gland to the tooth by chewing. Capillary action brings the venom out of the tooth and into the victim. The teeth are loosely anchored, which allows them to be broken off and replaced throughout life. Gila monsters have been observed to flip over while biting the victim, presumably to aid the flow of the venom into the wound. 8. Marine iguana. Marine iguanas are lizards found only on the Galapagos Islands of Ecuador, with each island hosting marine iguanas of different sizes and shapes. Their population has been threatened in the recent past due to the high number of predators that feed on the lizards and their eggs. Marine iguanas are marine reptiles that have been termed as ugly and disgusting from their appearance. Contrary to their fierce look, marine iguanas are gentle. Their color is mostly soot black. They have a long flattened tail that helps them to swim. Their claws are flat and sharp, enabling them to cling to rocks in case of strong currents. They sneeze frequently to expel the salt around their nostrils. Besides sneezing, they have special glands that excrete the excess salt. Unique among modern lizards, it is a marine reptile that has the ability to forage in the sea for algae, which makes up almost all of its diet. Large males are able to dive to find this food source, while females and smaller males feed during low tide in the intertidal zone. They mainly live in colonies on rocky shores where they bask after visiting the relatively cold water or intertidal zone, but can also be seen in marshes, mangroves, and beaches. Large males defend territories for a short period, but smaller males have other breeding strategies. After mating, the female digs a nest hole in the soil where she lays her eggs, leaving them to hatch on their own a few months later. 7. Tokay gecko. The Tokay gecko is a nocturnal reptile that belongs to the genus Gecko. It is mostly found in the continent of Asia as well as some islands in the Pacific. It has a robust body, larger head, and strong limbs and jaws compared to other gecko species. The tokay is a large lizard that measures between 30 and 35 centimeters. Although it camouflages to blend with the color of the environment, it is usually gray with red speckles in color. Its body is cylindrical in shape and has a smooth texture. Tokays have gender differences, with the males being brighter than the females. They feed on insects and other small vertebrates. The strong jaws enable them to crush the exoskeleton of insects. Tokay geckos are generally aggressive, territorial, and can inflict a strong bite. Females lay clutches of 1 or 2 hard-shelled eggs and guard them until they hatch. The Tokay gecko feeds on insects, fruit, vegetation, and small vertebrates. It is a strong climber with foot pads that can support the entire weight of the body on a vertical surface for a long period of time. Compared to other gecko species, the Tokay gecko has a robust build, with a semi-prehensile tail, a large head, and muscular jaws. Though common in the pet trade, the strong bite of the Tokay gecko makes it ill-suited for inexperienced keepers. In addition, the strength of the bite depending on the gecko's size. Larger, usually male, Tokay geckos are capable of piercing skin, which often results in immediate bleeding. 6. Komodo dragon. The Komodo dragon is the largest known species of lizard. It is found on the Indonesian islands of Komodo, Rinca, Flores, and Gili. Mature Komodo dragons usually weigh 70 kilograms on average and measure approximately 3 meters long. It hunts by ambushing the prey, which includes birds, invertebrates, small mammals, and in rare cases, human beings. Its bite is venomous. The protein venom that it injects can lead to unconsciousness, low blood pressure, paralyzed muscles, and induction of hypothermia in the prey. They mate between May and August, with the females laying their eggs between August and September. The Komodo dragon prefers hot and dry places and typically lives in dry, open grassland, savanna, and tropical forest at low elevations. As an ectotherm, it is most active in the day, although it exhibits some nocturnal activity. Komodo dragons are solitary, coming together only to breed and eat. They are capable of running rapidly in brief sprints up to 20 kilometers per hour, 12 miles per hour, diving up to 4.5 meters, 15 feet, and climbing trees proficiently when young through the use of their strong claws. To catch out of reach prey, the Komodo dragon may stand on its hind legs and use its tail as a support. As it matures, its claws are used primarily as weapons, as its great size makes climbing impractical. The Komodo dragon hunts in the afternoon but stays in the shade during the hottest part of the day. These special resting places, usually located on ridges with cool sea breezes, are marked with droppings and are cleared of vegetation. They serve as strategic locations from which to ambush deer. 5. The Parson's chameleon is omnivorous, eating mostly plants, insects, and possibly small birds. It is primarily listed as an insectivore because its diet mainly consists of mantises, large beetles, moths, and roaches, including the Madagascar hissing cockroach, Gromphodorina portentosa. It has been speculated to eat small mammals and birds and is known to eat other lizard species. It utilizes its prehensile tail as an anchor by fastening itself to trees or branches while it searches for and devours prey. The Parson's chameleon captures its prey by shooting out its sticky projectile tongue. Its tongue acts as a suction cup. Food is seized and swallowed almost whole. A chameleon's lack of movement, as well as environment-adapted skin change, enable the predators to catch prey off guard. Parson's chameleons congregate at certain times of the year. For example, when coffee plants are blooming, they can be found on the coffee plants waiting for insects, such as the turnip moth. The Parson's chameleon, C. parson, is one of the longest-lived chameleon species with the highest minimum age of 9 years for males and 8 years for females. C. parson can reach an exceptionally long lifespan in captivity. Longevity in the wild was estimated at 10 to 12 years, and in captivity, animals of 14 years were recorded, which is unique among chameleons. The great longevity and the sexual maturity reached at least for some individuals after 2 or 3 years, make this species particularly susceptible to threats such as overcollection. 4. The rhinoceros iguana. Like other members of the genus Cyclura, is a large-bodied, heavy-headed lizard with strong legs and a vertically flattened tail. A crest of pointed horn scales extends from the nape of their neck to the tip of their tail. Their color is a uniform gray to brown drab. Most adults weigh 4.56 to 9 kilograms, 10.1 to 19.8 pounds. These iguanas are characterized by the growth of bony prominent tubercles on their snouts which resemble horns. Dr. Thomas Weavant, who spent an extended period on Mona Island studying Cyclura cornuta steinegeri, suggested that the horns, along with lateral spines and prominent parietal bulges, function as a protective armor against sharp rocks or as defensive tools to facilitate the escape of males from the grasp of one another. Ranging throughout Hispaniola, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, rhinoceros iguana populations are stable only on Isla Beata, and the extreme of the Barahona Peninsula, inside Parque Nacional Jaragua. There are moderately dense populations in the southeastern region of Haiti and its offshore islands, including the saltwater lake of Atong, Sumatra. Populations in Haiti are even more endangered, due to deforestation and human clearing practices. The rhinoceros iguana, like most Cyclura species, is primarily herbivorous, consuming leaves, flowers, berries, and fruits from different plant species. A study in 2000 by Dr. Allison Alberts of the San Diego Zoo revealed that seeds passing through the digestive tracts of Cycluras germinate more rapidly than those that do not. 3. Peninsular rock agama. This species of lizard has a large head that is elongated and depressed, with the cheeks swollen in adult males. The snout is longer than the diameter of the orbit, a cavity. The upper head scales are unequal and smooth or obtusely keeled, the scales being larger on the sinciput, brow, than on the occiput. The canthus rostralis and superciliary, brow, have a clear and sharp edge. Two small separated spines or groups of spines above the ear are present or absent. The diameter of the tympanum is half or a little more than half that of the orbit. It has 10 to 13 upper and as many lower labial scales. The body is slightly flattened. Dorsal scales are small, uniform, smooth, or feebly keeled in the adult, and strongly keeled in the young, all pointing backward and upwards. The dorsal crest is reduced to a ridge of enlarged scales. Ventral scales are as large as the dorsal and smooth, keeled in the young. From 115 to 150 scales occur around the middle of the body. The gular, under chin, scales are a little smaller than the ventral. Underside scales, 4 or 5 enlarged scales occur on the chin parallel with the anterior labials, separated from them by 2 rows of scales. A strong transverse fold covered with small scales is seen across the throat. The nuchal and dorsal crests are merely tooth-like protrusions. The legs are strong, covered with uniform keeled scales. The hind limb when extended forward in a specimen reaches the ear or the rear end of the eye, and further forward in younger individuals. The tail is slightly flattened and covered with keeled scales. 2. Flying gecko. Tokazoan was a genus of arboreal geckos, endemic to Southeast Asia, known commonly as flying geckos, gliding geckos, or parachute geckos. They all are now placed in the genus Gecko in the family Geckonidae. The biogeographic history of the genus Tokazoan was deeply nested within that of the genus Gecko, the center of diversity of which is within Southeast Asia. Since dispersing into Southeast Asian rainforests, Pitokazoan, like other forest-dwelling vertebrates, adapted to facilitate gliding. All species in the genus Tokazoan are characterized by cryptic coloration and elaborate webs surrounding the neck, limbs, trunk and tail. These membranes help to conceal the gecko against trees. When the gecko leaps into the air, the flaps are used to generate lift and allow the gecko to control its fall. It can glide up to 200 feet, 60 meters. Also, it does a swoop at the end of its glide to land softly. A similar adaptation is found in geckos of the genus Cocymbachus. There were 13 described species in the genus Pikazu. 1. Thorny devil. The thorny devil was first described by the biologist John Edward Gray in 1841. While it is the only species contained in the genus Moloch, many taxonomists suspect another species might remain to be found in the wild. The thorny devil is only distantly related to the morphologically similar North American horned lizards of the genus Phrynosoma. This similarity is usually thought of as an example of convergent evolution. The names given to this lizard reflect its appearance. The 2 large horned scales on its head complete the illusion of a dragon or devil. The name Moloch was used for a deity of the ancient Near East, usually depicted as a hideous beast. The thorny devil also features a spiny false head on the back of its neck, and the lizard presents this to potential predators by dipping its real head. The false head is made of soft tissue. The thorny devil's scales are ridged, enabling the animal to collect water by simply touching it with any part of the body, usually the limbs. The capillary principle allows the water to be transported to the mouth through the skin. The thorny devil is covered in hard, rather sharp spines that dissuade attacks by predators by making it difficult to swallow. It also has a false head on its back. When it feels threatened by other animals, it lowers its head between its front legs and then presents its false head. Predators that consume the thorny devil include wild birds and gannets. You just saw 10 strangest lizards you got to see. Which of all of this do you think is the strangest lizard of them all? Let me know down in the comments. Remember to leave a like and subscribe or this cat will scratch you.